Hi, my name is Andrea Thompson, and I'm going to talk to you today about a second grade project-based learning activity that we can incorporate in our second grade classes. For this unit, we would start the week by introducing maps to our classes. We would show them different types of maps, even encourage them to go home and bring some maps in. Maybe at home they have some maps that their family went on a vacation to a park or a mall, someplace special, and they have a map of it. Encourage them to bring that in, then return it. When we have the maps in the class, we're going to utilize Bloom's taxonomy and analyze them. Have the students organize them into different categories. See where their mind goes with this. Have the students evaluate the differences in the maps and have them recognize the important information with your guidance. Really have them look at the differences in the keys, map keys, and the roads and the different elevations. Show them those different things so they really get to see how the key works with the map. This process of getting to know the maps and incorporating it into our class lesson could take 3 to 4 days, I would venture to guess. You really want them to understand and remember the important parts of the maps that we're going over for the next part of this PBL. Now that you have the students familiar with maps, you're going to, as a class, come up with a shared map. This could be of the classroom, of the school, of the city. Have the kids interact and come up with a map that you're going to do as a class. And give the students the instructions of how to make the map for a hypothetical person, someone who's never been here before and they're coming and you want to make sure they have a map so that they can find their way around. Together as a class, recall what you learned about talking about, or when you were talking about maps. Recall everything that you learned and see what they put in the map, and then encourage what they don't remember. Try to think of keywords to get them to recall. This is again using Bloom's taxonomy. Then we're going to break into teams. And in those teams, let me let you know that coming up with the map, I would probably give about 2 days for the shared class map. Then break into teams, and each team is going to work on part of a map. That map could be, say you did the classroom. Each team is going to take, say, the desks, the bathroom area with the sink, depending on how your class is laid out. Just giving an example here of how you could have the teams break up. The teacher's area, the reading area, or the centers, have one class group do the centers, depending on, again, how your class is set up. Once they go into these teams, I would give them 2 to 3 days, maybe 4 at most, depending on how your learners work. And have them, they're going to generate, plan, and produce their own mini map of the big shared map. Having them generate, plan, and produce that is again using Bloom's taxonomy. Now that they have their mini maps, I want them to I would have my class break into individuals now. They're going to branch off to themselves and use their own creativity and the information that they made in their maps and the shared class map and come up with a brochure. This brochure is going to allow them to dig deep and come up with their own creativity, write and illustrate, and tell about their favorite places. So again, if it was your classroom, the reading area is my favorite place, or the math center is my favorite place. Write what you would need in a brochure to really make someone want to go to that place. In the reading, you might want bright light, or you might want a quiet area. So you might want to bring headphones so you don't hear noises. You might want to bring a comfy seat. Really try to encourage them to tell me why I would want to visit that place and what I would need to visit that place. I would allow 3 days for that. That way they can really get their creative juices flowing. The students will be using all of Bloom's taxonomy throughout this whole process. They are going to check and critique and organize, the map, and they're going to recall information. They are going to summarize and implement things all together, both as an individual, as a group, and as a big group as the class. All in all, I think this should take about 14 days because at the end, I would have my students present their brochures to the class so that they get that presentation experience as well. Then let the class critique it. That will add into the Bloom's taxonomy as well. This PBL activity will help the students see the importance of a map and how it relates to real life. It will help them make sense out of a lesson that we could have just talked about and went over on a board. Instead, they're getting their hands into it and really going to be able to absorb that information and see how this activity relates to real life and how a map relates to real life and the importance of it. The activity will help students' cognition because they're going to have to recall the information that we talk about at the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. It will require quite a bit of recollection. But being that this is a hands-on activity with support and our guidance throughout the project, I think the motivation will be higher for the students. And this is different from an average instruction that we could do for this lesson. This is something that will really get them excited about learning. As discussed, we will be explaining as we're teaching the lesson, we're going to touch on all of Bloom's taxonomy points throughout this activity. Some more than others, but each one will have been touched by the time that we're done. This is going to really challenge our students to dig deep and hit those learning goals. And using the Bloom's technology, there's knowledge gained that we're tapping into their conceptual knowledge and factual knowledge and helping their cognitivity grow because they're going to have to organize this in their minds and come up with a way to memorize and recall the information. Our students will walk away knowing that there was a realistic problem and they were able to come up with a solution and a way to help someone. And as a class, we went through each step of the process together as a group, then breaking off into smaller teams to then take it individual and come together as a class again and critique it all. You will have students that will benefit from the hands-on over the visuals, or hands-on and visuals over just me standing in front of the classroom, talking to them and explaining on a board. This is going to allow these students to hit each student. It's going to hit each student and they will be able to absorb the information better. But the students come with a PBL, project-based learning. The students come away learning more and they get an excitement about learning. This is more than just a lesson or a project. This gets them together and lets them also be creative individually and as a group. Thank you.